Hey everyone, and welcome back to Hollow Street. I'm so thrilled you're here for another spine-chilling journey into the unknown. If you're new to the channel, buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into stories that defy explanation. And to my incredible returning viewers, you know the drill. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's unravel this mystery together. Today, we're peeling back the layers on one of the most unsettling tales I've ever encountered. This isn't just about a building. It's about a place that seems to breathe, to live, and to hold secrets far darker than any shadow. So dim the lights, grab your favorite comfort drink, and prepare yourselves for Hollow Street, Episode 16, The Elevator. Imagine, if you will, a seemingly ordinary apartment building. Nothing remarkable about its facade. Just another brick and mortar structure blending into the urban landscape. But as many of you know, ordinary is often just a disguise for the truly extraordinary. And in this case, the terrifying. Our story today centers around a resident named Alex, a young artist who, like many in the city, found solace and inspiration in the quiet anonymity of apartment living. Alex lived on the 7th floor, a perfectly normal, mundane number, or so he thought. It all started subtly, as these things often do. A flickering light in the hallway, a strange hum from the elevator shaft, faint whispers carried on the wind when no window was open. Alex, being an artist, had a keen eye for detail and an intuitive sense for atmosphere. He initially dismissed these occurrences as old building quirks. Every old building has them, right? Creaky pipes, drafts, the settling of foundations. But then, the elevator itself began to behave. Oddly, one evening, after a late night at his studio, Alex called the elevator to his floor. When the doors opened, instead of the familiar interior, he saw a fleeting glimpse of something else, a corridor that wasn't his floor, a different color scheme, an antique wallpaper he'd never seen before, and a strange, almost archaic-looking doorbell beside a door. The door snapped shut before he could fully register it, and when they reopened, it was his floor again. He blinked, shook his head, thinking he must be exhausted, perhaps even hallucinating from lack of sleep. He stepped in, a shiver running down his spine. This was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, these glitches became more frequent and more distinct. The elevator wouldn't always stop at his floor or the ground floor. Sometimes, it would go higher than the top floor listed on the panel, a phantom 8th floor, a 9th, sometimes even a 10th. And when it did, the doors would open to reveal something truly horrifying. It wasn't just a different decor. It was a snapshot of another time, another reality, unfolding right before his eyes. One night, the elevator ascended past the 7th floor, stopping abruptly. The doors hissed open, and Alex found himself staring into what looked like a Victorian-era drawing room. The air was thick with the scent of dust and something metallic. A grandfather clock stood ticking loudly in the corner, its hands frozen at 1:15 midnight. And then he saw them, figures, indistinct at first, like shadows moving through old photographs. He realized they weren't just figures, they were people, trapped. He saw a woman in a long, dark dress, her face etched with despair, staring out of a window that showed an impossible, fog-shrouded cityscape. He saw a child, no older than 5, sitting alone on a patterned rug, silently weeping, clutching a worn-out toy. Their movements were jerky, repetitive, like a broken film reel. They were victims, undeniably, but victims of what? Of whom? And why were they trapped in these impossible floors? These echoes of time. Alex, despite his fear, found himself drawn to this unsettling mystery. He started documenting everything. The exact floor numbers the elevator would randomly stop at, the distinct eras these apartments seemed to belong to, the chilling details of the trapped individuals. Each floor held its own unique tragedy. One opened to a 1940s apartment, complete with wartime propaganda posters, where a young man in a uniform perpetually paced the floor, whispering to an invisible presence. Another revealed a 1970s disco-themed flat, But instead of joy, there was a palpable sense of anxiety and desperation radiating from the two figures frozen mid-argument. He began to notice a pattern, a subtle, underlying thread connecting these disparate timelines. A look of profound sorrow, a sense of unfinished business, an inescapable doom that hung heavy in the air of each spectral dwelling. It wasn't just an apartment building. It was a prison of memories, a nexus for souls tethered to moments of their greatest suffering. And the elevator, it wasn't just transportation. It was a portal, a silent witness, perhaps even the mechanism keeping these tragic loops alive. The more he observed, the more he felt a growing sense of dread, but also a strange pull, a desire to understand, to somehow help these spectral inhabitants. He tried to speak to them once, reaching out a trembling hand as the doors began to close on a scene of a roaring 1920s party where everyone seemed to be laughing, but their eyes held an unspeakable terror. His hand passed through the ephemeral figures, feeling only cold air, and the image dissolved as the elevator descended. Alex theorized that these were moments of intense emotional trauma, events so powerful they imprinted themselves onto the very fabric of existence, manifesting in this cursed building. The building itself, he suspected, might be built upon a nexus of ley lines, or perhaps it absorbed the psychic residue of countless tragedies that occurred on that very ground over centuries. He wondered if the building was feeding on these echoes, or if it was simply a passive conduit, an unwilling keeper of tormented souls. The crucial question that haunted him was this: if these victims were trapped in time, were playing their final, agonizing moments, was there a way to break the cycle? Could he, a simple artist from the 7th floor, do anything to bring them peace? Or was he merely another observer, destined to witness their eternal torment through the cruel window of a malfunctioning elevator? The thought of being powerless to help those glimpses through the portal weighed heavily on him. He felt a profound sense of responsibility, even though logic dictated he was just seeing ghosts, echoes. One evening, the elevator stopped not at a specific floor number, but at a B for basement, a button he'd never seen illuminated before. The doors opened to an endless, dark void, a swirling expanse of shadows and the faint, rhythmic sound of a heartbeat, slow and heavy. For the first time, Alex didn't see figures or furniture. He saw pure, unadulterated emptiness, and a cold that pierced him to the bone. It was then he realized the true horror. The building wasn't just housing these trapped souls. It was perhaps the very entity that had trapped them, a monstrous, living thing drawing sustenance from their despair. In the elevator, it was its primary sensory organ, its eye, its mouth. He stumbled out onto his own floor, gasping for breath, his heart pounding. The experience in the B floor, that terrifying void, changed everything. He understood then that he wasn't just a curious observer. He was potentially the building's next target, another soul for its collection. The victims trapped in time were not just historical echoes. They were warnings. He had to get out. But how? The building seemed to be closing in, the whispers in the hall growing louder, the elevator lights flickering more aggressively, its hum sounding more like a growl. His attempts to leave were met with frustration. Each time he took the elevator down, it would randomly stop at one of the phantom floors, forcing him to endure the chilling tableau before eventually reaching the ground floor. The building wasn't letting him go easily. It wanted him to see, to understand, perhaps to experience the same fate as the others. He felt its presence, a silent, malevolent intelligence watching his every move, enjoying his terror. The apartment that once offered him solace had become a cage. In a desperate attempt, Alex started talking to his neighbors, trying to find anyone who had experienced similar anomalies. But everyone just looked at him with polite confusion or dismissive smiles. Old building quirks, they'd say. Must be your imagination. He realized he was alone in this chilling discovery. The building had chosen him, and perhaps shielded others from its true nature. Or maybe, the others were already part of its endless cycle, simply unaware. The thought was chilling. He decided his only chance was to unravel the building's history. He spent days poring over old city archives, newspaper clippings, and property records. He discovered that the plot of land where the apartment stood had a dark and tumultuous past. It had been the site of a tragic theater fire in the late 1800s, then a hospital known for experimental and ethically dubious treatments in the early 20th century, and later, a hotel where several mysterious disappearances had been reported. Each layer of history seemed to contribute to the building's spectral weight. He found mentions of a peculiar architect, a recluse named Elias Thorne, who designed the current apartment building in the 1960s. Thorne was rumored to be obsessed with numerology and the concept of dimensional pockets, believing that certain structures could harness psychic energy. Could it be that Thorne deliberately built this apartment as a trap, a conduit, or even a living entity? The thought was terrifying. This wasn't just a haunted building. It was a meticulously crafted monument to despair. As Alex delved deeper, the building's hold on him seemed to tighten. Objects in his apartment would move. Faint scratches would appear on his walls, and the faces of the trapped victims would occasionally materialize in his reflections. He was no longer just an observer. He was becoming part of the narrative. The line between his reality and their endless loops was blurring. He was slowly, inexorably, being pulled into their timeless torment. His final entry in his journal, discovered weeks later after his disappearance, read, "The elevator called me tonight, not to a floor, but to a silence. A deep, inviting silence beyond any number. I think it's time. I think I finally understand. This building ... It doesn't just show you the past. It offers you a choice. To join them, or to become them. And I am so tired of fighting. And that, my friends, is where Alex's story ends. Or, perhaps, where it truly begins again, in an endless loop within the walls of Hollow Street. The apartment building still stands, seemingly normal from the outside. Its elevator continues to operate, taking residents up and down, day in and day out. But somewhere within its hidden mechanisms, beyond the numbered floors, lies a chilling collection of lost souls, glimpsed through the fleeting opening of an elevator door. Victims trapped in time, waiting for their next unwitting visitor. What do you all think happened to Alex? Was he finally absorbed into one of those phantom floors? Is he now another face staring out from a historical tableau, reliving his last moments forever? Or did he somehow find a way to escape? A way to break the cycle that no one else could? This tale, like so many on Hollow Street, leaves us with more questions than answers. It reminds us that sometimes, the most mundane places can harbor the darkest secrets. Let me know your theories in the comments below. Have you ever experienced anything like this? A place that felt like it had a life of its own, a building with a truly unsettling vibe. I'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this episode of Hollow Street, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next chilling investigation. Your support means the world and helps us keep exploring these eerie corners of existence. Thank you so much for watching, for being part of this incredible community, and as always, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.